I asked you this with the Mr. Fuji episode, and I've got to ask this again. When was the first time you met Roddy Piper?
I met Piper in, wasn't my first run through LA. I was, Texas. Texas. I went through, I just got divorced. I was down in Texas. I was, there was one baby face. I was with Scott Casey and Doug Gilbert, the professional. Traveling around with them. And Piper came in on a Chevy Vega or something. And he was driving from Canada or from way down. He took thousands of miles with a pit bull, 200-pound kid came down and wrestled, and he was starting in Texas. I think he had a little run in LA first. Excuse me, not the big successful run that he had with the Guerreros and with Chavo, but he had a nice had a little run in LA or somewhere. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Don't hold me to that. But he drove in, came rolling into Texas, and I wasn't in Texas, Dallas for very long either. I was just kind of transitioning and post divorce, post everything else. So it's kind of a mixed up world. That was the first time. Then we reconnected again when he was at in his in the peak when he had L.A. when Los Angeles was running really smooth, and he was doing business with the with the as a heel against the Latino fan base, and that's where I got. I was working in San Francisco, but my family, my mom and dad, were living in Santa Monica. Uh, they had apartment buildings down there in Santa Monica. In fact, Freddie Blassie lived in the last one they did, and he was a tenant of one of them. So they were nice buildings in Santa Monica. So that's the second time I'd go over and see them. They were in a motel I can't think of, but where all the majority of the wrestlers stayed that were transient in and out of it. And they'd have ed rooms there, that to live in, monthly homes, monthly rooms. He was doing there, and he was just starting with Japan, with Inoki, and he was he's going to Tokyo to wrestle Fujinami. They were taping matches in L.A. and then they're doing shows. He was going on tours to Japan as well.
So, did you ever actually go on tours? Because I know you went to Japan as well. Did you actually do a Japanese tour with Roddy at any point, or were you always separate?
No, always different tours.
So, which
Every year.
territories? Because you said Texas, you said Los Angeles, and no WWF. Did you bump into in Mid Atlantic, Georgia, anywhere like that as well?
Yeah, Atlanta. That's where I was. That was after my first run for the WWF. I was down in Atlanta. In fact, he was he was starting to turn already. His rap and his talk on the TV, and Gordon Solie, the famed announcer from Georgia and Florida Championship Wrestling, one of the finest TV wrestling announcers, play by play, whatever. The guys, and then I got into. He was only a little guy, and I was bullying. I started to bully Gordon around, and then Piper came to make his save, make the rescue, make the thing, and it switched him around. And then we went to where the Omni. I was in Charlotte too. I was back and forth. So that was after he'd been he'd been around, and just before he went to the WWF as the time. I'll call it WWF. That's what it was at the time. So before he made his move there, but he was doing really great in the North Carolina area.
Do you remember when Roddy Piper first went to Georgia, the Georgia territory, and do you remember that he was brought in as a commentator and not a wrestler? I mean, that's
Yeah,
a really, really sort of odd way of bringing someone in, but it genuinely worked. I think he was a bad guy first, then he started protecting Gordon Solie, and then became a good guy.
I'm sure he probably had some input into that situation. I don't think he was always working behind the scene to take care of his brand and to take care of his image. So I would imagine. I don't know offhand, and I can't say whether it's true or not. But I would imagine, a lot of it was his own conception to start off and to branch off into wrestling.
Yeah. When you, at the beginning of this episode, you mentioned that you feuded with Roddy. When was this? Before pre-WWF?
In Atlanta. It wasn't long. It was just a quick thing, and I left. I left Georgia. I was having problems, and I just we had a big match coming to the Omni, and I didn't show. But the show before, something happened. It was after the Gordon Solie thing, and he came in and he sucker punched me, hit me with a roll of quarters, knocked me out, and so we had that rematch in the Omni, and that was the extent of the feud there. It really never carried. We wrestled a bit in Charlotte after he got stabbed, and I'd come in as a baby face. For some reason, I don't know why, because I just come down from New York, the territory right above you, the TV right ahead. But they brought me. That was the Ole Anderson thing. They brought me in as a baby face. Wahoo and I were going to take over the World Tag Team or U.S. Tag Team Champions. That was just what they fed me. And Wahoo and I were going to partner up and then, turn on Wahoo eventually. But and I did turn on Wahoo eventually. But as that happened, and Piper was involved in that, and we got into some type of set too with Charlotte TV tapings. Well, first it was Jack Briscoe, and later on with Roddy. So with my switching from babyface to heel.
Since you brought it up, what was the story of Roddy Piper getting stabbed?
Some guy flashing a knife, and he was around a bunch of kids or something, and he didn't like it. He took off his shirt and used that, and I guess he ended up knocking the guy out. The cops arrested him, took him away. Not Pipe, the guy with the knife.
Yeah. Was this independent of wrestling, or was this actually in the arena?
No, it was in an arena. It was in an arena. Right. I think. I'm pretty sure. I wasn't there I was in a different town at that particular night that he got stabbed. I heard he got stabbed, but it wasn't until later, and that helped his turn too. He was going. They sold that as the thing, and then as he turned in Charlotte, that helped him.
When he was a good guy, he was facing Greg Valentine for a very long period of time, and Greg Valentine used to say it's the year of the ear, and he used to focus on his ear constantly, punch him in the ear, and it eventually led to the dog collar match in the first Starrcade. Now, I imagine you probably did watch that match and the first Starrcade, but I was wondering, because you were in the WWF at the time, what was the buzz going round that the other company, probably the closest competition with the AWA at that time, was coming out with such a big show, and they were doing it closed circuit TV?
Those guys were doing fantastic business. With Mulligan and Flair and Steamboat and Paul Jones and Boogie Woogie Man, and just a cast of guys. I think Ole was booking there too, and they had Dusty going in and out, and world champion Harley was in, so they had all kinds of talent, and it was well organized and a well conceived territory with the TV and stuff. And from what I hear, guys are making fabulous money. Mulligan and Paul Jones and Mulligan and a couple guys had feuds going. Flair and Mulligan. It was when Flair really started to make his name, his name in the national, international scene, and all these other guys. It's just, it's a tremendous territory, and why they went under, I have no idea. And then you just lost, and probably losing talent, and Vince was taking talent, but then, there's no reason. Well, management, I usually tend to management because talent's talent. Everybody's, all the crews have got talent, and it depends how you use it and how you construct your programs, stuff around them.